We are on the very last set of problem examples. We are going to be dealing with the quadratic formula. To remind you, our formula is x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now we need to identify our a, b, and c. Also, when we're dealing with the quadratic formula, we must set it equal to 0. Our a term is going to be next to the x squared, our b term is going to be next to the x, and our c term is going to be the constant by itself. Now, usually my rule of thumb is when I'm dealing with the quadratic formula for myself, I'm going to look at just the rule underneath the radical first. So I'm going to set up in this rule underneath the radical, that's what we call the discriminant. So I'm going to do my b squared, so that's 12, and we're going to square it. I'm going to do a different color just so that you see that this is always there. So that -4 is always going to be there no matter what, times our a value, and then times our c value. Now, if any of our a or c happen to be negative, we would want to make sure to keep that value in there. At this point, I'm going to put that in the calculator and our handy dandy calculator to help us out. When I'm putting it in the calculator, I'm putting it in the calculator exactly as it is. So I'm putting parentheses 12, parentheses squared, and then -4, and then parentheses 3, and then parentheses 10. And that will give me 24. So our discriminant is 24. Now this tells me a couple of things. This tells me that I do have two solutions. Your discriminant, if your discriminant is greater than 0, you have two solutions. If your discriminant is equal to 0, you have one. And if your discriminant is less than 0, you have no solutions. Okay, that's just a little side extra lesson. Now that we found our discriminant, we're going to fill out the rest of the formula as soon as there we go. All right, so I'm going to do x is equal to negative, our b value is 12, plus or minus. Now I'm doing this in red. I'm taking the square root of 24. So this 24 we put underneath the radical, okay? Then we're putting that all over the 2 times our a value, which is 3. Okay, we're going to do some simplifying here. So this is going to be -12 plus or minus. And then 2 times 3 is 6 on the bottom. Now, we're going to simplify the square root of 24 over here. Again, I'm going to go over here and make my life easier and use Desmos. I'm going to do 24 divided by x. We're going to convert to a table. And I'm specifically looking for those perfect squares. Right off the bat, 4 and 6, I know 4 is a perfect square, so we're going to replace 24 with 4 times 6. We know that 4 is going to come out as 2, 6 is going to stay underneath the radical. So this becomes -12 plus or minus 2 square root of 6. I'm going to highlight some things just so that you can see what I did in terms of that change. Okay. Now we can simplify some of our numbers here further. We know that -12 is divisible by 6. We could also simplify it as 1 unit. And when I'm simplifying it as 1 unit, I'm looking at the smallest number. So we got 12, 2, and 6. So when I'm looking at that smallest number, I'm going to think, well, how many times does 2 go into 12? 2 will go into 12 6 times. 2 will go into itself 1 time, and then 2 will go into 6 3 times. So you could represent your answer, and it would look like this. Also, a very valid answer would be to say -12 divided by 6, which would give you -3. Sorry, not -3, -2. Then we would have plus or minus the square root of 6 over 3. These are both valid ways to represent the same final form for the solution for this quadratic. All right, I know this video is a little bit longer than the others because there's a lot more to talk about. All right, good luck. See you on the next video.